Your personal brand should make people work with you before you ever speak to them. If that doesn't happen, or you don't even have a personal brand, unfortunately, you are invisible. And today, I'll show you how to fix that with a process that agencies charge over $10,000, which you will get completely for free. By the way, my name is Ruben, and I scaled a coaching business past $3 million using the same systems I now build with AI. Today, I help coaches and consultants grow their businesses using the same systems that have worked for me. So proven from my own experience, not just theory.
People buy from people. A head of product made a boring video that had 70 freaking views on LinkedIn, but he was wearing a Bears t-shirt, and somebody bought their SaaS product because they're a Bears fan too, because people buy from people. If you do it, really do it, it becomes what I am. You become a practitioner of marketing. The biggest issue for corporate executives is they're living in ivory towers. The reason we're so unstoppable is because I, the CEO of the company, am in the craft, meaning this is me literally writing the copy to a post at 11 o'clock this morning. So what really gets great about building a personal brand in social is if you're the practitioner of it, you actually learn skills building your personal brand that you can deploy against the logo.
Yeah. That's the point. If people don't know what you stand for, what makes you different, why they should follow you, you just blend into the noise. And one more thing I would like to add on top of what Gary Vee said is that even though building a personal brand might seem unpredictable, unsure, scary, I do think that in the near future is going to be the actual safest thing you can do to make sure you're financially secure in your future, because that's the only thing that nobody can take away from you, not even AI. Okay, so how to actually build a personal brand, how to refine your personal brand that maybe is not getting the results you want. The old way to get this right was to hire a branding agency. They would give you a 30-page questionnaire, drag you through workshops, and then send you an invoice that looks like a phone number. I know it. I've done it. I've built brands working with agency where the cost was over $10,000. And the most crazy part I realized over the years is that what you're actually paying for is a framework of questions. They ask, you answer, they distill. So here's the story. I recently launched my AI automation agency, which I started promoting with, you guessed right, my personal brand. So I had to actually go through the personal brand building process, which I knew well. I did for others, but this was the first time I did for myself. So I would start filling up one of these long questionnaires, and I thought, why I'm doing this, why I'm wasting time writing when these days I actually like to do everything with AI to optimize the process, do it faster, have more fun. So I said, okay, let me reverse engineer everything. And that's why I built a custom GPT that goes through the same framework of question of this agency, just that charges thousands of dollars. So you can get the same result for free in a way that is faster, is more fun. And yes, if you're wondering, if you stick to the end of the video, I'll show you how to get this custom GPT completely for free. And to let you understand how everything works, I'm actually gonna go through the building process, my personal brand, so you can see how it works. And you will receive at the end of this questionnaire what I call a Brand Identity Masterfile, which is your brand positioning operating system that you can use with AI to do a bunch of cool stuff, including creating content that always sounds like you, to make sure that in your business you always have an asset that can be used at scale. Okay, let's get started. So here's the custom GPT called Personal Brand Builder. This is the GPT version of 10K brand strategies, minus Zoom calls. It asks smarter questions, work faster, and turns your story into a brand identity master file you'll actually use for content, offers, and growth. Okay. So as you can see here, there's 3 ways you can start. If you're starting from scratch, you start with the first button. If you already have a a personal brand that you want to refine, you go with the second. If you're not coming from this video and you're not sure where to start, you can click this button. But all 3 options will guide you through the same process. So let's get started by building live my personal brand. Let's get this brand party started. But first, a few questions to tailor the whole experience for you. So what's your name? Do you have already a brand name, or we're starting fresh? Who are 2-3 personal brands you admire? Have you built a personal brand before, or this is your first go? Once I have that, we'll build your brand identity masterfile, a living blueprint that will power content creation, clear messaging, monetization strategy, platform, and system alignment. We walk through 10 blocks, from your story and values to monetization and long-term vision. It takes about 20 minutes. You can type, speak, or upload anything. Bro, I'll clean it up. Okay, so personally, I like to talk through. So I'm gonna send voice notes. If you already have a personal brand or you have files that you can share as you go through this, the kind of maybe videos you already recorded, emails you wrote, books you wrote, social media posts, etc. I recommend upload them as you go through this process because it'll give much more information and context. Okay. So I'm going to start replying to this question. So my name is Ruben Davoli, and I don't have a brand name, but I like to keep my brand name the same as my actual name. So Ruben Davoli. The two, three personal brands I admire are Alex Hormozy, Gary Vee, and Matt Gray. I have built a personal brand before, but not for me. I've done it for other people. So my response, Davoli. Perfect, Ruben. Let's get this thing dialed in. Here's the game plan. Your goal. We're building your brand identity master file, your personal brand's blueprint. You'll use it to create consistent, high impact content, sharpen your positioning and messaging, design and align your offers, even plug into your own custom GPT later, which I've already done, and I'll show you at the end of the video how you can do the same. How it works. We walk through the 10 core section of your brand from story and values to monetization and platform. It takes 15 to 25 minutes. You can type responses, speak aloud, I'll transcribe, upload notes, journals, or even voice memos. The more raw input you give me, the sharper, more useful this will be. Since you build brands for others but never for yourself, mix beginner prompts with strategy level depth. We'll go fast where you're clear and dig deeper where it's still forming. Let's kick off with identity core. Prompt, tell me your story. What moments, values, or struggles shape the way you showed up today? You can go deep or rough draft style. I think like where you grew up, big turning points, the why now behind finally building this for yourself, patterns you keep seeing in your journey. Whenever you're ready, drop it here. Messy is welcome. So I'm gonna paste here what I already prepared to save time, but I'm gonna walk you through so you get to know a little bit more about me. So I grew up in Verona, Italy. I went to high school there, and by the age of 16, 17, I was approached by a public relation person to promote Sunday afternoon parties at a popular nightclub. The role quickly evolved into organizing student parties, university events, and eventually my own events. A huge part of my teenage life was being a promoter for several well known clubs, which earned me local popularity and my first taste of creating demand from scratch. A pivotal moment came around 18. I was invited to a New Year's party at someone's house and saw how poorly it was organized, from mismatched alcohol quantity, like 6 bottles of rum and 2 bottles of Coke, to a complete lack of structure. It bothered me deeply. That was the moment I decided if I'm going to an event, I want to be the one organizing it. From then on, I began throwing my own events, learning that with good planning and hustle, you could make more than most employees in Italy earning. And around 20 to 22 years old, while attending uni, I had to make a choice: pursue academics seriously or double down on a nightlife. I loved the energy of the events, but around 2012, the economy was crashing and nightlife was clearly declining. I was studying economics and didn't want to end in a bank job earning 1,500 euro per month when I was already making around 2,000 euro per month from my side hustle. So I decided to pivot. I saved up and moved to Australia in 2014 with a one-way ticket. Over 6 years, I did various jobs, eventually becoming the restaurant manager at a local deli. I worked hard, got sponsored by the company, and started a complex path toward permanent residency. That involved 2 years of continuous employment and thousands of dollars in fees. Just weeks after applying for residency, I was blindsided. My boss told me that the shop would close in 3 weeks. Turns out, he had sold the business to a supermarket chain long ago and never told me. I realized I had put my future in someone else's hands and I paid the price. It was rock bottom. My girlfriend and wife was in Australia on a partner visa that depended on my job. I felt the pressure but also clarity. The moment made me wow, I will never work for someone else again. We both returned to our home countries. She to Thailand, me to Italy. I dove headfirst into online marketing, consumed everything: books, courses, mentorship. I partnered with an American trading coach and became the operator behind the business. Marketing, operations, sales. Together, we generated over $3 million in revenue. Along the way, I realized a deeper frustration with the education system. I appreciated the basics I received, but most of what actually moved the needle in my life came from non-traditional learning: online courses, books, trial and error, and mentors. Schools don't teach financial literacy, resilience, or entrepreneurial thinking. It's wild to me that we are taught how to be consumers in a capitalist society, not creators or owners. This belief is at the root of my mission: to help others claim ownership over time, income, and systems using the leverage of AI, smart operation, and modern tools. So sending this over. Ruben, that's not just a story, that's a brand origin movie. You live the leap from nightlife hyperman to operator owner, and it shows. Let me distill into this your identity core block. Okay, so start drafting. Up next, values. What are your non-negotiable? Give me 3 to 5 core values, the principles that guide you how you work, lead, and lead. If it helps, what do you defend under pressure? What do you wish more people embody? So here's a summary of my values. One is mastery over mediocrity, deep work, constant refinement, real growth. Freedom over convention, autonomy in time, place, and relationships. Truth over noise, no fluff, real strategies, real conversations. Leverage over labor, so systems better than hustle, and smart scaling always. Depth over superficiality, substance, presence, and meaningful in K. So here's keep dating the master file, which at the end you'll be able to download. Core values. Okay. Next up, positioning. Let's get strategic. Answer this. Any format is fine. Who do you serve? Describe your ideal audience. What problem they face? What do others in your space get wrong? How do you solve it differently? What's the one benefit people get from you they can't find anywhere else? So this one I'm gonna reply live. Who do you serve? I serve coaches and consultants that run an online coaching or consulting business. The problem they face is that we're entering in the AI age. Everyone knows they should be using AI more, but they don't know really how to do it effectively. So that's the main problem. So I'm going to reply to this one live. Who do you serve? I serve coaches and consultants who run specifically an online coaching or consulting business. What problem do they face? They face the problem they should be using AI more since we are entering in the AI age, but they don't really know how to do it or how to do it properly to focus on what actually works. What do others in your space get wrong? Most people in my space promote AI without actually using it for themselves first. That's what I realized, at least at this stage. So they promote tools, systems that on paper sounds good, but actually the business owners don't understand how to actually can make them more money, save more time. And the way I solve it differently is that I test it on myself first. I do have a proper understanding how business works, which by the way is the main thing that matters even before AI. Like if you don't understand business, AI is not gonna solve anything. It's just gonna amplify how do you run your business, make it better, more optimized, but it's not gonna solve if you don't know the basics. So differently, I do this. I actually like to test it myself first on my clients and then offer to others. Also, especially in coaching and consulting, the problem is that many people don't pay enough attention in maintaining the tone of voice of the coach. It sounds too much robotic. And so I solve this with what I call the authentic scale method. So prompting AI in a way that by using, for example, files like this, the brand positioning master file, it helps maintaining your tone of voice. It helps being consistent with your values, what you stand for, and really make it sound like you. What's the one benefit people get from you that they can't find anywhere else? I think I reply above. So I'm gonna send this over. Which, and by the way, the positioning, my experience is something that can also change over time. So today, this is my brand positioning, what I think makes me different from others. Maybe in 1 year is gonna be probably in 1 year is gonna be something different. So that's something you can always iterate over time. Next up, core message. Let's steal your brand thesis. The one belief that sits at the heart of everything you teach. Answer this to help me shape it. If my brand was a billboard, what would the one liner say? Probably the one thing I say more often is optimizing. So it'll be something like optimize everything, because with the AI now, you really have the opportunity to optimize like crazy level any part of your business. So that's why what I focus on, and not just for business, also for personal life. The biggest myth in my space I want to destroy is that probably AI when it comes to content is too robotic. It feels like AI. That's a myth for people that don't know how to use it properly. It all comes down reverse engineering the true essence of yourself, of your business. So, and that's possible to do with proper system, proper prompting. So that's probably one of the biggest in my space. And I do this with what I call a method, which is the authentic scale method. So you can scale with AI, but without compromising your tone of voice and who you really are as a human, which will never go away. It's the base of everything. AI just amplifies that. How do you want people to feel after hearing speak or reading my content? I simply feel like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Clearly, has done his homework. He's done his experience, and potentially I can learn something from him. Any phrases, analogy, or metaphors you find yourself using often? When it comes to AI, for example, which is the main topic I talk about in personal brand, the metaphor I often use, because there's still people that are skeptical about it, is that you need to think about a few decades ago, where when you want to go somewhere, you're still using like a paper map, and now everyone uses Google Maps or similar services. So AI is the same thing. It's like, if you like, in the near future, it's the obvious thing that everyone is going to use it for anything, and you're not really even going to wonder how the world is without using it. So that's a fact. There's pros and cons, but that's just a fact. And so I want to focus on that, and how making better future, better choices by using AI in a good way, rather than complaining or thinking that, be skeptical about that, it's not that good, is not that relevant, because it is. And just thinking about as an obvious technology shift that is happening. While he's updating the Brand Identity Masterfile, something I notice, I often use voice notes, and I often use the desktop app of ChatGPT, but I noticed that the web, it's a little bit more reliable when you send long notes. Sometimes the app doesn't understand what you're saying if your note is like longer than 3 minutes, at least for me. So just a little trick that I realized. Next up, content pillars. Let's map the 3-5 recurring themes your brand will stand on. Answer this. What topics do you love talking about or get asked about constantly? What stories, rants, or lessons do people find most valuable from you? What could you talk about for years without burning out? Let it flow. I'll turn it into crisp pillar names plus explanations. So let me copy here what I already prepared. So topics I want to talk about: my personal brand, scaling coaching brands as the operator, behind the scenes systems for real growth. So what I actually have been working in the past few years, AI and automation for solopreneurs and lean teams. So real workflows, real results, zero fluff. I'm actually showing, again, the stuff that work for me or my clients. Entrepreneurship for lifestyle freedom, high margin, low bloat businesses built for life design. Obviously, also the reason why we're doing this is to live a good life. And so I'm planning to talk about that as well, including freedom and global living, designing international life from anywhere. I come from Italy, been living in Australia, but now I'm in Thailand. I get the chance to travel quite often, which is, I realize, something really, really blessed. So I'm planning to talk about that and show a little bit of behind the scenes of my life in that sense too. And then inner work and mental models. So conversation about consciousness, strategy, and growth beyond business. So that's what I mean when I talk about depth. Even with friends that have businesses or not, I often end up talking about topics that are more about how the universe work, how souls work, all the stuff that it's more like, we could say, philosophical. That's something I really, really enjoy talking about, and that I see some deep connections with business and, let's say, normal life. Next up, voice tone. How would you describe your natural communication style? I would say my natural communication style is to explain things, even complex, in a way that is clear, but with humor. So humor and jokes are always part of my communication style. So I'm also direct, serious, straight to the point in some scenarios. In others can be very funny, but always real. What tones or vibes do you not want your brand to have? Definitely not hypey vibes, especially if they're not back up from substance. That's actually what triggers me. And if my brand were a person at a party, what would they be doing or saying? If my brand was a person at a party, it definitely would be the life of the party. Okay, voice and tone set. Your mix of clear explainer plus party energy, no hype operator is rare and magnetic. You'll attract the right people and keep their attention. Okay, so platform strategy. What kind of content do you naturally enjoy creating? Definitely videos. I probably created thousands of Loom videos over the years to communicate with the team and collaborators. And so yeah, I'm like a visual learner, and so video, it's definitely the number one, the content that I like to create and also to consume. For spend hours, tens of hours per week on YouTube. And my ideal clients, and probably most platforms, but ideally on YouTube, since they're looking for solutions, how to solve certain problems. And as businesses, also LinkedIn. How much time per week can realistically commit? Definitely at least 10 hours per week as a minimum. Next up, monetization. Let's define your revenue strategy, offers, models, and next place. Okay, let's answer this. What are your current offer? I offer a service for AI automation to coaches and consultants. So we plug and play into businesses workflows that we already done for ourselves or other clients, or we can also custom build the workflows that can move the needle in coaches and consultants businesses. Price points I'm working with aiming for now. So there is a starting point with the audit, especially if it's a medium to large scale business, $5,000, where we dive into every division of the business, see what the opportunities are, see what are the parts of the business that are very repetitive, they are wasting time and money, and we come up with a solution where we can prioritize what to tackle first. And then in terms of the actual builds, it really depends on the size of the business and the scope. It can go between $1,000 to $50,000 builds. What the way we like to think it, because also that's how I think my previous business. What's really important is the ROI, right? So every type of price point is going to be built in a way that has a clear ROI for the client. What would the ideal monetization look like in 6-12 months? Yeah, probably productize solutions. So workflows that we've been building for many clients that are always the same. That's also why I'm focusing on niche of coaches and consultants, because I know that well. I know that a lot of problems and solutions are the same. So the ideal monetization is if dropping the price to something on the lower range, like below 10K, so that I can build and sell those services faster with better results for the clients. I think there are last 7, this is 8, last 2 missing. While it's loading, I just realized that I forgot to add in the voice and tone an example of how I speak. So I'm gonna do that now. So because even now we need to go to the next block. I can still upload an example of my tone of voice and then keep going. So this is very interactive. It's smart enough so you can play with it a little bit. So systemization. Okay, before replying to this one, I'm going to add the transcript of one of my latest YouTube video. So I'm gonna say, before replying to the systemization, here's the transcript of a YouTube video that you can analyze for context to improve the section of my voice and tone. Okay. So here's the transcript, send it. Thanks for sharing that. This video transcript was goal for shaping your brand tone, etc. Let's keep going with the systemization. Yes. What tools, habits, or systems help you operate efficiently right now? Notion, Loom, ClickUp, etc. Yes, so definitely using Notion, Loom videos, writing SOPs for any type of procedure that needs to be repeated either by myself or someone on the team, organizing Slacks properly so that all the topics and clients I have organized efficiently. Obviously, AI automations, which I talk more in depth in my YouTube videos. So these are the main things. Where do things still feel messy or manual in your brand business? Nothing too messy. Purposely keeping, because I'm at the beginning, things manual right now, because I want to get traction on a manual level first. And then when it's solid enough, I can scale it with AI, which is what I do for myself, what I do for other clients. So I had experience in my previous business of automating most of the stuff. Now that I'm starting kind of this new business, my new personal brand, I purposely want to keep it manual for the first few months. And as it start getting repetitive with traction, I like to then systemize it with AI. But I don't like to do that without getting traction first, because you don't know what's really working. What would smooth and scalable look like 6 months from now? Yeah, it would be like anything that I build manually first. So from advertising, selling, delivering, the drafting contract, everything that used to take manual effort, I like to step by step have it more and more automated. Next, long-term vision. Where do you want this brand to take you in the next 3 to 5 years? I want to get obviously more viewership among all platforms. I want all the platforms to be automated where possible. Where do you want this brand to take you in the next 3 to 5 years? I like the idea, of course, scaling the automation agency, but I see this as a first step towards something that can be much bigger, mostly in 2 ways. The first one, having, of course, like a big influence online, increasing the viewership across all platforms, being like a respected voice in this space. And the other is to create something really incredible with AI. Of course, now the opportunity, great software, SaaS are incredible. I just didn't want to start with that because I think I can learn much more by working with businesses, understand what people really need. But I see my personal brand as the opportunity to do something bigger, especially in the AI space. Success to me, for sure, all of those money, lifestyle, influence, team, impact. I do feel successful already. I just want in the future to increase that in a big way. So all those components, money, lifestyle, influence, team, impact. If the level now it's like 10, I want to get to 100. So more of the good stuff. And what I'm not willing to compromise is definitely my true self, my values, what I stand for. So, okay, that's a wrap, Ruben. Here's your complete brand identity master file, sharp, structure, and build for scale. You can now use this to craft content that sounds like you, build offers aligned with your values, audience needs, plug into your custom GPT for on-brand output 24/7. To export it, click the top right download icon, save as PDF or doc. Oh, okay. So to download, you just go into the brand identity section, click download, save as a document, and here's your free brand identity master file. So once you have that, you can upload it on ChatGPT, and based on that context, for example, writing your next social media post, which is gonna be much more in brand. But if you want to have plug and play custom GPT is what I actually recommend doing. You can keep going with the chat here. It will guide you through how to build your own custom GPT. The one I did for myself, it's called Ruben Brand Operator, where I added a brand identity master file and a prompt explaining exactly what I wanted. So now I would be really curious to hear from the comments, how was your experience, and maybe some examples of how you've been using it. So if you want to download your free Personal Brand Builder Custom GPT, all you have to do is join my free school community. There's going to be a link below the video. So I'll see you there.